Good afternoon. Welcome to the channel. I'm Old Dead Man, your host. We're at It's Fixed number 30 today. We've got a few patches that look like they're going to be important to know about, so let's get right into it. First up on It's Fixed number 30, they have continued to improve the whole entrenching situation there. They've made it so that now when you're entrenched, you don't have any more of the trouble with your gunner sight twitching around and other things like that. So that's a good positive change. On certain vehicles, they had the thermal imaging could be turned on and then used in the third-person view. So they've fixed that so you can no longer be sitting behind your tank and still using your thermal imager. That's a good thing. They've also reworked the air defense setup in ground RB. Now, there's a bunch of little changes here, but I think they're going to add up to an interesting package. The Airfield AA guns have been standardized with 4 large caliber and 6 mid-caliber rounds. Guns. They're all have these settings have been adjusted. So now instead of having this kind of burst fire rate where all of it just kind of hits you at once and plasters your aircraft a million different ways, now have a steady fire rate where individual rounds start coming in at a staccato rate. This change will mean that you have a lot more time to actually realize you're coming up on the airfield and potentially turn off or get away, rather than have this sudden burst of kaplow and then end up with like your everything leaking, half your plane shot up and all that kind of stuff in one literal moment of enemy AA fire. In addition, they've increased the target refresh rate. So instead of being forever away from the enemy airfield and still seeing rounds whizzing past your head, they're actually going to cut off sooner because they'll see that you're too far away to be effectively shot at. There's also a distance where they'll continue to fire even though it's outside their effective range, more as warning shots. So they've got a package of deals here where you end up with a less of this drastic immediate effect of a single hit taking out everything. Plus you get more of a warning shot. Plus they are going to hold off on firing when you get farther away. This is a good overall package of changes for mixed battles or ground RB. Keep that in mind. This is a good change overall. I like the way this one looks. There's some additional improvements over here in the actual patch notes. Ones that caught my eye were the TOW-2B missile and the RB-56 Bill 2 round. That's changed the damage of it. So the incorrect damage effect on armor penetration or explosion over the vehicle's turret in the hit camera have been fixed. Now it just says the hit camera. It could mean that it was actually normal in the actual effect, just the hit camera looked wrong. The Sturv 103s, they all get a fix on their auto loader. It's not supposed to be interrupted when the gunner gets hit, so they fixed that. The Vickers Mark 7 had a bug which overestimated the durability of the upper front armor plate, and that's been fixed. So, keep that in mind. If you're driving the Vickers Mark 7, if you manage to fly your Vickers Mark 7, please let me know. I'll want video proof. Anyway, so they fixed that upper front plate to be appropriate, which means that you're going to have to be more careful with it now because it's no longer overestimating your protection. On the aviation side, the DEFA, AIDEN, and ACAN cannons have all had their explosive weight and type for the HE round changed from 27 grams of RDX to 56 grams of Torpex. So that could change the effectiveness of those rounds. On the naval side, the Freccia P493 and Seata P494 no longer can lock on to surface targets. So that should make it easier for you to avoid fire from those high fire rate vehicles. And in the ongoing Gaijin saga on points in battles, they've made some additional changes. For ground vehicles and all ground gaming modes, the number of points for hitting the enemy has been increased from 10 to 15, and the number of points for taking damage has been increased from 5 to 7. On ship and boat naval gaming modes, the number of statistic points for every damage point inflicted on enemies has been increased from 0.18 to 0.2. So that's an increase in the overall points. Now, there is still an ongoing debate about whether points actually make any difference to your research points or your Silver Lions gain. Just understand that there is a relationship between them in that you get more points, you tend to get more of the other ones, which may not be a direct result therein. The other things that caught my attention include the bug, which has been fixed, where the FPS drop on PlayStation 5 consoles when you were showing grass has been fixed. And they say that the collision with concrete obstacles has been corrected in certain ground locations, which means exactly what, since they aren't being specific. We'll have to find out as we play. So thanks very much for joining me. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this particular news type video. You have a great rest of your day, and we will see you in War Thunder. On the aviation side, the DEFA on the aviation sides. On the aviation side, the DEFA, Aden, and Aiken Candid. You have a great rest of your day, and we will